Both scored it 115 to 112. Velasco Roldan has it 118 to 109. The winner by unanimous decision, Rolando Rolly Romero.
How's it going, everyone? I hope you guys are all doing well. So welcome back to the channel. So obviously last night was the fight card in Times Square, headlined by Ryan Garcia against Rolando Romero. Obviously, we're going to go ahead and break that down. Before we get started, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. I think number one, my thoughts on the event. I think you can pretty much already tell by the tone of my voice that, to me, I wasn't really impressed. And I think the first, sign of this card not being that impressive, in my opinion, was when Turki Al-Sheikh announced the fact that there were going to be no fans there. I don't really understand that. You have a fight in the middle of Times Square, and you fence it off to the point where fans can't watch it. So I didn't really understand that, and I think as a result, you got some poor performances. I think the first fight, Teofimo Lopez against Arnold Barboza, there wasn't really much of an atmosphere for it. It started very early, and I thought the fight wasn't that good. Obviously, Teofimo Lopez got the victory. I thought Arnold Barboza was very poor. But look, Teofimo Lopez, I guess he was one of the, good things that happened last night. He did fight well. I don't think he really got out of second gear, but, he did win against a good fighter in Arnold Barboza. So, I think Teofimo Lopez will go on to bigger things. And, so that was the first fight. The second fight, Devin Haney against Jose Ramirez, was awful. I thought Devin Haney was atrocious, really. I think Devin Haney, I've never been a big fan of him, really. But, I know what some people may say about this video, oh, you're a hater, but I'm just giving my honest opinion. Devin Haney, there was really no offense to his game. I've seen some people say defensively he was quite good, but, Ramirez didn't even throw punches. And this is just, Ramirez has slow feet. He's older. He doesn't let his hands go. And he's, again, very average and quite basic. And this is just really what Devin Haney does. He keeps finding these opponents that are, mid-30s, on their way out of boxing, and just keeps fighting these opponents that have really got nothing left. He fought Vasily Lomachenko when Vasily Lomachenko was 35 years old, completely undersized for the weight class, and most people think that he lost that fight. He fought Regis Prograis when he was coming off of a terrible performance, 35 years old. He fought Jorge Linares, almost 40. Yuri Ortiz Gamboa, almost 40. So this is just, again, what Devin Haney does. So I was not impressed with his performance at all. But I think Jose Ramirez was even worse. And that was an awful fight. A terrible fight. And if there were fans there, then 100% they would have been booing. Because that was just an awful fight. And as for the main event, Ryan Garcia upset by Rolly Romero, and I thought that was a terrible performance from Ryan Garcia. I thought he looked flat. Again, I think Ryan Garcia suffered from the fact that there were no fans. He kind of mentioned it after the fight. It felt like a sparring session. And in that sense, I actually, do feel sorry for him a little bit. Because, it's something that he's not used to. This is Ryan Garcia, who's, pretty much a, pay-per-view fighter, one of the biggest fighters in America. And he's coming out, and he's coming out in a car, and he's not really hearing the crowd or anyone. There's no real atmosphere. He's fighting outdoors, which he's already complained about. And Rolly Romero, you got to give him a lot of credit. He took his opportunity. I wasn't massively impressed with Rolly Romero, but you do have to give him some credit. I think he actually outboxed Ryan Garcia, which is very, very telling. I don't even know where Ryan Garcia goes from here, to be honest. And it really wasn't that close of a fight, so I don't think you can really call for a rematch. I think Ryan Garcia's career is really up in jeopardy now. As for Rolly Romero, probably the biggest victory of his career by far. Where does he go? Does he fight Devin Haney? I'm not sure. But yeah, happy for Rolly Romero, because he's obviously someone that's got, a lot of stick. Got knocked out by Gervonta Davis, was losing against Barboza, and got knocked out by Pitbull. So, happy to see Rolly Romero get a win. But those are my thoughts on the card. I hope to not really see it again. I think a lot of, especially for American boxing fans, there's not that many big fights happening in America anymore. Terrence Crawford fights once a year. Gervonta Davis fights once a year. So you're really looking at, Canelo Alvarez is fighting in Saudi Arabia. So these guys, in terms of Teofimo Lopez, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, these are some of the biggest names in American boxing. And the fans, want to watch them fight. So, to have a fight in the middle of Times Square and, have a fence and, don't let fans watch. And, it felt very elitist to me. And I'm someone I've been actually quite critical of Turki Al-Sheikh. I think he's done some good things in boxing. But again, there's many things that he's done that I don't agree with, and this is one of them. I didn't like the card. I don't like that style. I think we need to get fans in the stadiums next time. So those are my thoughts. As always, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next one.